Welcome to the first video of Magic Board Finder. In this video we will help you to choose the right surfboard as a beginner. Especially as a beginner it can be overwhelming, even a bit confusing, all the information that you find online, information that you hear from friends, from surf shops. It happens often that a beginner chooses the wrong surfboard. Not that the board itself is wrong, it's just the wrong board at this time. In this video we will explain why a surfboard works good for you, not just tell you what board you need. So like this we help you to understand why surfboards behave the way they do and that you can make a confident decision what board you have to choose. We call it the Magic Explained. So first of all, what is a beginner? We have divided all levels of surfers into 8 groups. We don't talk about just a beginner or an intermediate or an advanced. We made clear definitions so there's no confusion. And in this video it's about a level 1 surfer. It's a surfer who takes off and surfs in front of an already broken wave. So he surfs in the Whitewater. So in other words, we talk about an absolute beginner. So let's have a look what this actually means, surfing in the Whitewater. This is Whitewater. There was a wave in the back, it broke, and this created this Whitewater. So we're going to take advantage of this Whitewater to get up on the board and surf to the beach. So he lies down on his board, he paddles, he gets a push, he gets up and surfs to the beach. Let's also have a quick look at the difference between surfing in the Whitewater and surfing in an unbroken wave. Here the Whitewater is pushing you. It helps you with paddling and taking the wave. There nothing is pushing you, nothing helps you with taking the wave, so it's a lot more difficult. Second, everything happens a bit slower. The speed of the Whitewater is lower, so you have more time, it's more forgiving. Here everything goes fast. One small mistake and you will fall. And in the third one, this is a flat surface and it stays flat. So the conditions stay the same. Timing is not so important. Whether you stand up now or you stand up 1 second later, it's the same. Here it is curved and it changes. Timing is super crucial here. So this is why surfing in the Whitewater is the best place to start as a beginner. I know it's tempting to go straight to the back, but surfing in the Whitewater is a lot easier. That also means that we need a board that works well in this Whitewater. We now know what Whitewater is and why it is good to start there. Let's also have a look at the challenges a level 1 surfer is facing. First, he needs to catch the wave. He needs to paddle so that he stays in front of the Whitewater. Second, which is by far the most difficult part, is getting up on the board. The board is moving, so that's very challenging. Third, he needs to stay up, find his stability and go all the way to the beach. So what does it all mean for the board? The board must be easy to paddle. It must be a board that is good for a flat surface. It must be able to handle low speed, and it must be very stable to let you get up easily. Before we have a look at the board, let's explain some basics about the shape of a surfboard. This is the length. It's measured from the nose to the tail. The nose is the front of the board, the tail is the back of the board. This is the width. This is measured at the widest point of the board. Same for the thickness. This is measured at the thickest point of the board. And this is how we present the dimensions of a surfboard. This board is 7 feet and 6 inches long. It is 21.5 inches wide and it's 3 inches thick. The last one is the volume. In this case it's 58 liters. And the volume is how much space the surfboard takes up. This is the rocker. It refers to the curve of the bottom of the board viewed from the side. A lot of rocker means there's a lot of curve. A flat rocker means there's almost no curve. Sometimes we talk about nose rocker. This is the rocker in the nose area. And tail rocker, this is the rocker in the tail area. So this is a typical board for a level 1 surfer. It's very big because we need volume. And it's the volume that's going to give us the buoyancy to sit high in the water. This is a lot smaller, so this one's going to sit low in the water. And when paddling, pushing in the Whitewater, this one's going to push a lot of water, so there's a lot of resistance. So this one's going to go faster paddling surfing, and this is what we want. It's easier to catch the wave and the faster we go, the more stable the board will become. Anyway, in the whitewater, remember, the speed is very low, so it's the buoyancy that keeps us afloat. Later, when you're going to surf in the back, your boards will start to plane over the water, skip over the water, and then the buoyancy is less important. So, but here for us in the whitewater, we need volume. Volume is good. Now, these two boards have the same volume, but the rocker of this one is a lot bigger than this one. So you see that this one sits a bit deeper because the area that is supported by the water is smaller. That's a bigger area, so this one sits higher. So the same thing happens. This one is going to go faster than this one, and this is what we need. It gives us the opportunity to catch the wave easier, and it becomes more stable because we go faster. So in general as well, a flat board on a flat surface is a lot more stable than if it is curved. So rocker, we don't want too much rocker, we prefer this one. So one more thing about the nose rocker. This is a surfboard, a very small one, so we want a bit of rocker in the nose, because if we have a push from the whitewater, the tail might lift a little bit and we don't want to nose dive, so we want to stay out of the water. So that's why a bit of curve will make that the nose stays out of the water. Now the most crucial thing that we want from a beginner board, and this is stability. So what causes instability, this is actually the movement of the board, or more specifically the rotation of the board. And there is 3 rotations in a board. I will explain, I will give the names because I'm going to use them later. So this is the roll instability, this is rail to rail, this is pitch, this is movement up and down from the nose and the tail, and this is yaw, so the tail and the nose move sideways. So the most crucial one is the roll instability, so this movement, rail to rail. And how we're going to avoid that in a beginner board, this is by 2 things. We want a wide board and we want a thick board. Let's look at the width first. These boards have the same thickness. This one is less wide than this one. So let's say the board has roll instability, it moves like 10 degrees, then you can see that the shaded area here from the less wide board is a lot less than a wider board. So the shaded area represents the force that the board receives pushed back out of the water, so the buoyancy. So here the buoyancy, this force, is a lot less than here. It means like if this is 10 degrees, it's going to be pushed back already because the force pushes the board back. Here it might go even further. So a wide board avoids this roll instability. The same for the thickness. They have the same width now, but this one is a lot thicker. So you see the same thing happens here. Let's say this is 20 degrees. The force here is less. There's less shaded area. Here there's a lot more shaded area. So the force here is a lot bigger. So with the roll instability here, the board's going to be pushed back earlier than here. So this one might go even further. This one will be pushed back very soon. So the roll instability here is a lot less, so it's much more stable. Now the second one is the pitch instability. So this tail and nose go up and down. So how we're going to avoid this? We're going to make the board long. So it's the same principle. If you make it long, it's going to be pushed back much earlier than if you would have a short board. And the second thing, we want a round nose, not a pointy nose, because we want this to be pushed back by the buoyancy early on. Same for the tail, we want the round or bigger tail, not pointy, that it is pushed back, so that the pitch instability is lower. And then the last one is the yaw instability. This is the sideways movement of the board. And how we avoid that, we put a fin. The central fin is the most important one. It's called the stabilizer, and it gives directional stability. So it's not going to do this when it moves forward. It's going to keep going in the same direction. So now for a board, so let's summarize. So this is the beginner board. So to avoid roll instability, so rail to rail movement, this movement, we want a very wide board and we want a very thick board. To avoid yaw instability, to avoid pitch instability, so this is pitch instability, we want a very long board and we want a lot of volume in the nose and in the tail, so not pointy, round. And to avoid this yaw instability, so this is this movement, we put fins. So central fin has to point straight to the nose, and actually these fins, if there is 3 fins, have to point also to the nose. With good boards, we put them a little bit in an angle. I will explain later why we do that, but for a beginner board, they all have to point to the same direction. Like this, there is no drag, it doesn't slow the board down. What is the best material for a level 1 surfboard? It's a soft board. Why? Because the board is always close to you. It is attached with a leash to your leg. Second, you surf in shallow water, so you cannot dive deep to avoid the board. And the third one, you don't have full control yet over the board. So there is a risk that the board might hit you. And with a soft board, it just hurts less. Now, do you buy a board like this? For sure, this is the best board for you now, but it can be that in a couple of weeks or even a couple of days that you already move to the next level, and in the next level there are other options. So it might be a good idea to have a couple of lessons where they use these kind of boards, or to rent it from a surf shop or from friends. But if you buy, make sure that the board has fiberglass and resin. To put it simple, fiberglass makes the board strong, and resin makes the board watertight. How do you know? Well, it's usually marked on their website, and also cheap boards don't have it. And then wax. This is wax. We usually put that on the board to make it less slippery. Do you need it on a soft board? In my opinion, you need it on a soft board. Some brands claim you don't need it because of the texture. Just make the simple test. Do like this. If your fingers stick, then you don't need wax. If they slide, just put a little bit of wax. So now we know what surfboard model and material we need, and also why. Within a model there are different sizes, and the size is very individual. It depends, for instance, on your weight, your fitness level, how often you surf. So there's quite a bit of parameters. And to help you choose the size, we made an online tool. It's called the Magic Board Finder. You can find a link in the description below, and no worries, it's totally free. Let's have a look at the Magic Board Finder. The best is to look for the link in the description below, but for now you can find it under magicboardcenter.com and then click on Magic Board Finder. You go find my board. So this is the Magic Board Finder, and these are all the stages we're going to go through. Magic Board Finder is made for all levels of surfers. As you can see, we made clear definitions so there's no confusion. In this video, we want to find a board for a level 1 surfer, a surfer who surfs in the Whitewater, so we click level 1 and then next. On the second page, we need some personal info. Your weight and your age is required to be able to calculate the board. Your height and your gender is optional. So let's say 80 kilos, 1 meter 83, 45, and male, and you click next. The next topic is fitness. To measure your fitness level, we need feedback in 4 areas. The first one is endurance. You can read in detail how we described it, but to put it simple, how long can you run at a moderate pace? For me, this is 50 minutes, so I click the second one. Next one is power. Power involves both strength and speed. Again, to make it simple, how many fast push-ups can you do in a row? I can do 8, so I click the second one. Then we have flexibility. You stand up straight, you bend yourself with straight legs, and I can reach the floor within 5 centimeters. The last one is dynamic balance. That means maintaining balance during movement. You stand on one leg, you close your eyes, and you bend and extend the knee. You don't have to do it as elegantly as on this picture. For me, this is around 15 seconds, so I click the third option and go to next one. The next question is, how often do you surf? This is pretty straightforward. I surf 1 to 2 times a week, and you click next. Here it's about waves. We are level 1, so we surf whitewater, so the wave size is below 1 meter. Preferable, we do that on a beach break, it's much safer. And then the shape is mellow. We surf whitewater, so by definition we surf mellow waves. And then you go next. The last one is surfing preferences. For level 1, this is not relevant yet. You surf straight to the beach, there's not too many options. Then you just give consent that we use your data to calculate the board, and you submit. And this is the outcome. The Magic Board Finder recommends this board for me. This is the brand, Go Softboards. This is the model, Surf School Range, and these are the dimensions. We are not sponsored by this brand. This is a brand that we know from the shop and that we are happy with. For this board, these waves are ideal. Below 1 meter, in a beach break, and the shape is rather mellow. And these are the performance features of this board. You can see it's very stable. It's a little less maneuverable, but this is exactly what we want. Or it's very stable or very maneuverable. In our case, we want stability. The same for wave catching and nosediving. It's a little less good for nosediving because of the flat nose rocker, but it catches a lot of wave, and this is what we want. If you want to have a look at this board, you click Learn More. You will go to the website of this brand. You can see the board here. And as I explained before, you can see it's with epoxy and fiberglass. I hope you now have a better understanding of which surfboard is right for you as a beginner, and especially why that is. I hope it helps you to make a confident decision whether you buy or you rent your first surfboard. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want more tips on surfboards. See you next time.